Ready to take your life to the next level? Then you're in the right place. Get all the information you need to transform yourself into a high-quality man who attracts health, wealth, relationships, and purpose that he wants effortlessly. This is the Menprovement Podcast with Archer Black, where it is his mission to help you detach from social conditioning and transform yourself into a man you want to be. On this podcast, he interviews the most incredible men and women from all over the world to get step-by-step instructions on how you can improve your life and live it according to your own design.
What's up? Welcome back to Menprovement Podcast. My name is Archer Black. Yes, I kind of changed my name from Arthur because I thought this one is a little bit more catchy. It also sounds a little bit like a superhero. So in this episode, we're going to talk with Mark Sandoval. It's not going to be about nofap, how we usually go about things. It's just nofap all the time recently, but not this time. I'm going to speak with Mark Singh, who is a seduction coach who uses NLP, which stands for neuro-linguistic programming, to help his clients overcome their internal sticking points with women. And many men who have trouble with attraction suffer from past traumas they may not be aware of. These unconscious traumas give them the beta male programming, which prevents women from being able to get attracted to those men. So those guys literally are shooting themselves in the foot, even though deep down inside, at their core, they are attractive guys. So what Mark does is he uses NLP processes to rewrite the ineffective programs in the brain, helping most clients overcome their biggest sticking points with girls in just a few sessions. And it obviously doesn't necessarily ends with girls. You can use NLP to reprogram yourself for many different reasons. So we're going to talk about NLP in a context of how you apply it to yourself, to restructure your brain and to make it work for you instead of against you. So it's going to be a pretty fun conversation. Stick with me if you'll definitely want to stick with me because you're going to love it. So one last thing is that if you would like to book a free consultation call with me, there's going to be a link attached to that podcast, and feel free to do that. I'll speak with you one-on-one. We'll break down everything that you struggle in your life, be it success with women, habits. That would be two ones that I'm pretty good at this point. So without any further ado, let's dive into it. So why wouldn't you tell us a little bit more about yourself first?
So my name is Mark Singh, and I'm an NLP coach. And as many know, NLP stands for neuro-linguistic programming. And basically what I do is I go into the brain of my clients and reprogram some of the limiting beliefs they may have. And oftentimes men kind of don't understand what they're doing wrong with women. You know, they look at their friend who may be similar looks, similar attributes, similar accomplishments, and he's getting all these girls, and there they are not getting girls, and they're like, dude, what the hell am I doing wrong? And oftentimes it comes down to an internal glitch in the system, as it were, where, you know, they're not communicating attractive qualities to women because potentially something that happened very early in their childhood. And, you know, your software, the meta programs in your brain are created in the first 7 years of life. And oftentimes traumatic events happen to children in those first 7 years of life. And then they're stuck with kind of like outdated programming that works against them rather than for them, particularly when attracting women, and they don't even know what's going on. So my job is to go in there and kind of figure out what the issue is, replace it with more effective programming, while at the same time helping them on the tactical aspect of, you know, how to text, how to talk to girls, how to approach, how to build attraction, qualify, get phone numbers, and all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. And but the NLP it saved me, man. I had big issues with anxiety. I was a Japanese translator back in Japan for 4 years, and I used to have panic attacks when I get out on stage. And
Oh shit! I heard that this is like one of the most stressful jobs ever.
oh, it's horrible. It's horrible, especially in Japan. I mean, they're so anal about everything, and everything has to be perfect. And even as a foreigner, they put that pressure on me, and standing in front of 500 people and trying to think both in English and Japanese, it just exacerbated the anxiety. And I would literally have panic attacks. And then I found meditation as well as NLP, and I was able to rewrite some of the BS that was going on in my head. And then I became a translator in Hawaii for 3 years and had no issues whatsoever with anxiety. And I attribute that completely to NLP. So stuff really works, man. It's really powerful.
Right. And for someone who doesn't really know what NLP is, I mean, we know it's neuro-linguistic programming.
Mm-hmm.
But if someone doesn't really know what that means, how would you explain it?
So what it is basically when I work with a client, I put them in a state of mild hypnosis, and with words, basically I have them imagine things by telling them what to imagine. And with words, linguistic, neuro is obviously your neurology.
Mm-hmm.
Linguistic is word. I'm able to reprogram, what are called meta programs in your brain. So your brain's a lot like a computer. There's programs operating, and a lot of guys are operating with like 1992 software, like Windows, where it like dials up super slowly and just isn't effective. So with words, I can tell certain things that people say, kind of what cognition they're in, if they're very auditory or if they're visual, and I base my language based on what channel they learn through. And then I take them through these processes to rewrite their software.
Right. So if you can imagine your brain as a computer, you're almost like the IT guy for the.
Yeah. And dude, what's funny is I often get clients that are IT guys because I think they really resonate with this message. I always ask them, so what do you do for a living? They're like, oh, I'm in IT. I'm like, oh my God, another one of you. But I always get along with them. They're always super cool guys. And, oftentimes they have a lot to offer a woman. They just don't know how to communicate effectively, high value, decisiveness, frame control, all these super important things. And subconsciously, oftentimes they kind of shoot themselves in their own foot. They get themselves in the friend zone and do low value things and have a low value tonality and body language. And without even knowing it, they thwart their own success just because of belief systems that they don't deserve to have a high quality girlfriend. You gotta think you deserve it before you can get it. You gotta think that you're worthy. And most people don't feel worthy. Most guys don't think they're enough.
Right. Yeah. And so what would be like the biggest, let's say, free problems you get with guys? And one, we already said that they might feel like they're not enough. Mm-hmm. And why do you think that is? So let's figure out the three main misconceptions that guys have, and then how would you deal with them if it was a client? If you're allowed to share it for free, I'm not sure. It might be
I'll charge your credit card after we're done with the call, but your listeners will get it for free. Yeah. So usually early in childhood, most of my clients get a feeling of unworthiness or shame in some respect. It's not always that, but often it is. And then what happens is that program's written, and then throughout their life, there's just more evidence compiled on top of that. They get rejected by women. They don't know what to say when they approach. And so it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Oh yeah, I'm not worthy. I keep getting rejected. So that's usually the biggest one.
And if I can kind of like delve a little bit deeper into that, like why would that happen? It would be, would you say would be ineffective parenthood in a way?
Yes.
Or like,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So little Jimmy can't do that. Or, oh, he's gonna grow up to be, 5'8". He's not gonna be able to get women. Like it's amazing how what your parents say can just immediately write a program. Boom, it's written. So, I intend when I have children to be very careful with what I say, very careful. And this starts Some predict it even starts in the womb, because children can hear in the womb, and just little off-put things. And even parents' belief systems about themselves can be embedded into a child. If I felt that I wasn't enough, or if I felt shame for wanting to have sex, then unconsciously I can translate that onto my child, and then he grows up feeling that way. So this is generational in nature.
Yeah.
And when you identify it and rewrite it, it stops today. And then, you know, once you rewrite it, literally, you can have a session with an NLP coach and feel this tremendous anxiety or this tremendous shame. And then by the end of it, you don't feel it at all, because it's been rewritten, almost like a computer program is rewritten. That's why I got into it, because I'm like, holy shit, this is effective. Like most people, you know, work with a psychologist for 10 years and not get those kinds of results. So that's why I'm such a fan of it. That's why I love it so much.
Right. That's interesting. The evolutionarily speaking, we can I can understand why this is the case, why the programs gets written so fast during the early childhood, because you kind of are born almost like this empty slate, and you need some sort of thing to function. And your closest relatives is your parents. So whatever was working for them, technically speaking, should be working for you, because they survived up to this point.
Yeah. I want to do an experiment. I want to do an experiment when I have a kid, which I intend to do, just to put like the most powerful programs in that little fucker's mind. Like, you are a champion. You can do it. You are a girl magnet. Like when he's an infant, I'm telling him these things, and then see what happens with him. Yeah, hopefully. If it's a girl, I'll be like, boys are terrible. Don't date boys.
Oh man, this is going to be fucked up after that.
Purposely mess her up.
She's going to be a lesbian. Anyway, so like I can understand why this, but now we got to an era in our development as humanity that we're more conscious of how those things work, and we can actually make a purposeful decision and manually sort of design those programs and then inject them into little babies' heads. So I think it's almost like one of the first generations who's slowly becoming aware of that on like a larger scale, I guess. So it's pretty cool.
NLP it's not very old. You know, it was created by Richard Bandler and John Grinder, I believe in the 60s. Let me Wikipedia this real quick. So it's not old at all, but it's insanely powerful. And guys listening, it was designed in the 70s originally. Guys who know about this will often think, well, what can I do to use NLP to manipulate women? And now there's certain things you can do to use NLP tactics to make women attracted to you, but I much prefer programming inside your head, because to me that's 80% of it, inner game, right? If you're operating smoothly, you don't need these fancy techniques to make girls fall in love with you, because once they do, they're still going to see right through you that you're not put together, right? So it's like you'll have them in this trance for a limited time, but essentially you want your mechanism to be running as efficiently as possible, not only to attract women, but to do better in your job, to be more socially savvy, to succeed in all aspects of your life. And, you know, I work with an NLP coach and myself, and I often do it for other areas of my life. You know, anything that I'm struggling with, boom, just work with the NLP coach and they can help you with that. So it really does go beyond attracting women. But one of the ways I use it is to attract women, and it's ridiculously effective for that, for sure.
Got it. All right. So we delved deep into one issue of feeling unworthy and how it's like a program that's installed early on. And what are the other issues? We have two more.
Approach anxiety is another gigantic one, which I'm sure every single listener to your podcast can relate to, because as you know, that's literally programmed into our head, not only by our parents, but by, you know, thousands of years of evolution. Why? Because if you approach the wrong woman in a tribal setting, you can literally be killed. So the approach anxiety is a gigantic one. And, you know, really what's being rewritten there is, hey, you're not going to be murdered if you approach the wrong woman. You're not going to be ostracized from society if you approach the wrong woman. And there are tactics to approach women where you don't have to come off like you're taking, but instead come off like you're giving. You're a go-giver. And there's certain tactics, I teach my clients for how to do that, where rejection is essentially sidestepped.
Yeah.
And then the third one is they don't know what to talk about. What the hell do I say to her? What's this magic thing I can say where she'll jump in the air and slide right onto my dick? Unfortunately, they want that magic word. Unfortunately, that doesn't exist. But what does exist is certain conversational topics which can build attraction. Certain things she's probably going to ask you where you can pivot that and leverage it to your advantage by making her attracted to you. So those are the three big ones: shame, approach anxiety, and what to talk about. Certainly there's other things. There's traumas that people have been through and a bunch of other crap that, I can certainly work on. But those three are the big themes for sure.
Right. And how do you actually, okay, so imagine I'm a client right now and I'm horribly traumatized in the past and I feel ashamed. Whenever I talk to a girl, I literally throw up in my mouth because I'm so stressed out. And my hands are shaking and I'm trembling and I'm like, hi, how are you? And then I run away. Right? And I come to you and I'm like, dude, I've been trying to overcome this issue, but it's not going really well. What would you, how would you go about it? Like, what would you do to me?
Right. So it begins with the interview process. So what happened in your past, really? And we delve into that with certain techniques. I lead you through a process where we can identify what it is. I mean, throwing up in your mouth, that's a pretty big emotion there. So should be easily identifiable. And then we pinpoint that. And oftentimes I'll start with what's called the timeline process, which is we go back and we identify the first time that feeling of terror happened to you. And we dislodge it and dislodge all the other instances that happen between then and the now, as well as future incidences. And again, we do this through a process, an imaginatory process, a mild state of hypnosis. And through that, literally before I got on this call with you, I just had a coaching client who himself had a feeling of unworthiness. And at the end of the call, I said, okay, try to feel it now. And he's like, I can't feel it. And that's it. It literally is that quick, not for everybody, and not everybody's a one call case. Definitely. Usually it takes more than that. But initially, there's a lot that can be done, with just one phone call. And again, that's why I do it, because I think it's like the most effective thing ever. I want to get NLP tattooed on my butt.
Sweet. Wow. Yeah. Well, because you'd think that the best way would be to just go out as much as possible and do it like outwardly.
I think you're the one who said that's not effective. You got to have a balance of both.
Exactly. No, I'm saying that some people would think that's the case because
right.
Obviously, this is when you're practicing any sort of skill, then like the more you do it, the better it gets. But with women, especially, you kind of have a balance of both, because you can be literally repeating the same mistakes and actually making it worse for yourself, because those bad habits kind of get reinforced.
That's an important point.
Really get discouraged after a while of rejection and stuff. So,
it's a self-perpetuating mechanism where you do the same thing, get the same results, and then you go deeper and deeper into that feeling of shame, unworthiness, or inability. I'm just not good with women. Then you start thinking things like that, and your brain is neuroplasticity, means your brain literally forms to the thoughts that you think over and over again, and it becomes easier to think the thoughts that you think consistently. So if you think consistently, I am bad with women, it feels good to think that in a weird way. And that's why feeling sorry for yourself, lamenting about, what you're unable to do kind of feels good in a weird way. It's because your brain is like structured that way. But by first removing that thought pattern and then restructuring it with positive thoughts, I am good with women, I have a lot to offer, I am a champion, then your brain literally changes shape synapses go down those directions. And I'm sure, Arthur, in your case, if you were to tell yourself, I'm an idiot, it would feel so wrong. It's horrible, but what feels right is I am a champion. And then that's reflected in your body language. And then women pick up on that.
Yeah. I sort of did my own version of NLP for a while. I think it helped. I'm pretty sure it did work to an extent. And it was, so what I did, I would go to sleep, and then there's those recordings on YouTube that have all those positive affirmations and positive messages embedded in them. Mm-hmm. And they kind of go on a repeat for a number of hours. And as you fall asleep, the person in the video says, I am this. In the first person, I am and this. Mm-hmm. And whatever the theme might be. It could be about women, could be about money, could be about career. And those things would kind of play in the background as I'm falling asleep and I'm in this sleep cycle. So I believe you kind of have to get yourself first into, as you said, the alpha state of the brainwaves. Mm-hmm. So that's been taken care of by falling asleep. And then it goes even deeper into the theta waves. What do you think about that?
Oh, it's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. And that's a mild state of hypnosis. It also happens, alpha and theta happens in meditation. Mm-hmm. So meditation, which I highly recommend as well. I try to meditate every day for 30 minutes. It puts your brain in those states, and it's more suggestible when it's in those states. So oftentimes I'll do a meditation, and then I will do my affirmations after that. I am, just like you said, I am has been scientifically proven to be the strongest affirming statement you can make. So I am, then just list out what you want to be. And a little tip for your audience here, if you ever have a negative thought in your head, like I'm stupid, say erase that and then replace it with a thought that you can believe that's positive. I am a good person. I am a girl magnet. I am a champion. Whatever you can believe and whatever is realistic for you.
Exactly. That's a part about being realistic. I think it would be pretty useful, because if something is like really out of your comfort zone, let's say I'm a champion, when you look at yourself and you're like, in your mother's basement, just eating Cheetos and smoking weed and are obese, and it's really incongruent to your present reality. Yeah. Then you could always say, I'm becoming that thing, which is much more believable, because you're on the track of getting there and you're cementing that belief, which is also very powerful to believe that. Therefore, the actions that you kind of need to take on a daily basis to get yourself out of that zone are going to be easier to take. There's not going to be as much resistance coming from your brain.
Yeah. You know what's interesting is you will become your identity. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is whatever you think you are, you will become. So if let's take the obese example, right? If you consider yourself an obese person, you will not be able to lose weight. Now, if you reframe that and consider yourself a ripped person or a thin person and really make that your identity by simply choosing to believe it, I am a thin person, you will do whatever it takes to maintain that identity. So identity comes before motivation or discipline or anything else. Like me, I enjoy going to the gym. And so I believe that I'm a guy who goes to the gym. I believe I'm in shape. I believe I'm ripped. And that's like who I am. Mark is ripped. That's how I think of myself. So it's like I cannot not go to the gym. When I miss a gym day, it almost feels wrong in my heart. It's like, this isn't me. When I eat a big thing of donuts, it's just not me because it's not part of my identity. And I'm sure certain guys feel that way even now. They're like, this isn't me, this guy who isn't good with girls. Like, it just doesn't feel right. It's not me. But yet, deep inside, they know it's not them, but there's still something thwarting them becoming that guy who's good with girls. And that's usually one of those meta programs that I discussed. Because even on the identity level, they're like, God, this just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. And that's where that creates that resistance. Yeah. And so, it's usually with those kind of guys, it's easy to, get them good success with women. in a matter of just a few sessions, typically, because, it's that thing that happens over and over that prevents them from success, that they're like, I just don't get this. Those are kind of the ideal guys for NLP for sure.
Yeah, that's what it is. The emotional anchors that happen, that kind of keep you on track, because like your brain is almost like this cybernetic mechanism that is basically set to think Mark is thin, Mark is ripped, right? And then the moment you deviate from that path, so maybe you had like some Christmas dinner or something like that, and you're a little bit outside of this being ripped, and then you immediately course correct, and then you kind of get back on that instead of and the same happens if you're fat. If you think of yourself as fat, and then the moment you lose weight, your brain is like, system, something's wrong. We have to navigate our way back to what we know is comfortable and what's working.
Exactly.
Even though it's not ideal, it worked, and it got you. It made you it helped you survive up to this point. So your brain is kind of like navigating its way back to that zone.
And that's the interesting thing, is that you, like the listener, not getting women, in some weird way, your brain thinks that that's an effective survival technique. In some way, there's been a program written that says, not getting girls is keeping me safe. Not getting girls will make me happy. But we know it's incorrect programming. It's BS. It's making you very unhappy. In fact, having a woman in your arms, getting that energy, getting that interaction every day, to me as a man, I believe that it's part of our health. We need that to be healthy, to like be able to come in a woman and have sex and have that connection with a woman who we care for, or, maybe a lot of women, until we find that woman that we care for, which is what I know a lot of guys like to do. But to me, that's a biological need. So guys who don't get women, who are struggling with it, or don't get as many women as they want, oftentimes it's this weird effed up belief system that says, I am safe because I am not getting women, that is preventing them from getting women, whereas another part of them says, I want women. So basically, you're like hitting the gas and hitting the brake at the same time. There's something inside you hitting the gas, trying to go for women, then something hitting the brake, and it's like this gigantic struggle. Every time you see a cute girl, you just want to go talk to her. You wish you knew what to say. You wish you knew how to get her attracted to you, but there's something inside you hitting the brake. So it's really hard to overcome those kinds of obstacles when you have two conflicting belief systems like that.
Yeah. And that's right. Because you're basically, your intention is very divided. Like, part of you wants to be protected, part of you wants this girl's validation, part of you wants to get laid, part of you doesn't want to get laid because it's a new experience. So you kind of want to align all those intentions and just pick one. Obviously have the identity level shift. That's again, it starts with identity, because I think a lot of people would think, I want to, let's say, get women, and then I would think of myself as a guy who gets women.
Yes.
And the actually counterintuitive thing to do is to think of yourself as that guy first, and that initiates and catalyzes the process of becoming that in actuality. But it starts with the inner belief first. And then it's an interesting feedback, right? It's like you get the inner beliefs on point, then that allows you to take action. You take a little bit action, you get a little bit results. That reinforces that new belief. Then that belief, you're like, I actually could be like this. The belief gets a little stronger. That allows you to take even more action. The action reinforces the belief, and the cycle continues until you're like, it's a non-issue.
Yeah, and then you just believe it so wholeheartedly, and then every woman buys into it because you believe it. You have a strong reality, and then it's over. You can go up to a woman and really not say much at all and get her attracted to you. And that's how it works too with body language and internal beliefs. They compound off each other. I am a champion. I'm a girl magnet. And then you have strong, open body language. Your head's held high. You have a smile on your face. Your chest is sticking out. Your palms are open. You really have vulnerable body language, because vulnerability is the hallmark of strength, and that compounds off each other. And women are quite literally designed to see right through you. They know what's going on inside you. And if you don't have these high-end belief systems, if you don't identify yourself as an alpha, they will probably not get attracted to you. That's why, 20% of the guys get 80% of the women, is because 20% of the guys have these belief systems, this body language, this attitude, this identity that, all of us are trying to get, and then they get all the chicks. And it really is like those who have will be given more, universal law.
Yeah, that's right. The law of abundance.
Exactly.
Anyway, I think we covered this whole topic pretty thoroughly.
I think so too.
Anything else you would like to add? And also where people can find you if they would like to book a call?
They can find me at coachmarksing.com. That's MARKSING.com. So it's coachmarksing.com. And it is typically 200 per session. But since you are listening to the Men Improvement podcast, you can get in for 150 for a session with me. Actually, I think it's 147 for a session with me. And like I said, if you feel like you just keep running up against the same sticking point, the same thing keeps happening to you, and you're like, dude, I just don't get this. Why is this happening to me? Then you might be a good fit for my coaching, and we'll get that fixed up for you and get you way more attractive to women. So again, that's coachmarksing.com. And we also host the Unapologetic Man podcast. I know Arthur was a guest on that. And my partner's website is masculinedevelopment.com, and I highly suggest you check that out. He puts up some awesome information, awesome blog posts. Can't suggest it highly enough. So I appreciate you having me on, Arthur, and we were pumped to have you on our podcast, and it's great to make this connection, man. Really respect what you're doing out there.
Absolutely, man. Thanks a lot for coming over and sharing your wisdom. So
absolutely. Thank you.
All right, so that was Mark Sandoval, and make sure you check out his website because this guy is an incredible copywriter. He obviously knows Japanese and he knows NLP, so I can vouch for him. He's awesome. And if you like what you heard, make sure that you leave a review. Reviews are very useful, and this is how you can say thank you for sharing with you this information that helped you, hopefully. So leave us a review, and also follow us on Instagram, like us on Facebook, all the good stuff. This is basically how you can pay it forward, and I'll see you in the next episode. Peace.